Welcome back, everyone, to a brand new installment of Screenplay Rewind. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And this recording, I feel like, is going to be like 10 minutes long. I'm going to be honest. I think this might be probably on the record as the shortest episode that we've ever had on any of our channels. What do you think?
Maybe. I don't know. We tend to ramble.
Maybe our Raiders of the Lost Ark podcast will go completely off the rails, just like this green room segment we had. Ron and I have been talking for like 30 minutes about fucking the Dungeons and Dragons movie, about Jeremy Irons' career. So somehow we got on the topic of Shia LaBeouf's career, I guess, because that's an obvious segue, because we were talking about, just Indiana Jones sequels and shit a little bit.
Aragon.
But how the fuck do we get on the topic of Dungeons and Dragons, the movie?
I don't remember.
I don't even fucking know.
I don't
even fucking know.
Well, it doesn't
like
help. It feels like a month since we talked to each other.
I know. We're recording this one like super, super late. Usually we have them like at least a few days, recorded in advance. But like we're literally recording this one on Friday night. It's gonna be finished as a recording, uploaded, and scheduled like tonight. So
yeah,
maybe that's just maybe that's the culprit. But it seriously feels like we haven't recorded in like years, and I don't know why. But I guess you have had like crazy busy IRL adult problems with painting your house and everything. So
I've been adult.
Never adult, dude. Adulting's a fucking trap, dude.
It's the worst.
If I could just go back to being a teenager where my only concern was like beating video games, that would be pretty fucking fantastic.
Was pretty great.
Instead of painting your fucking house or going to work, fuck all that shit. Just watch Raiders of the goddamn Lost Ark. Also, we definitely handpicked Indiana Jones because it was the 40th anniversary, and that definitely wasn't just a complete accident on our behalf. But yeah, can you believe Raiders of the Lost Ark is officially 40 years old this year? That's nuts to me.
Oh my god, dude. That is absurd. I mean, I don't know why that's so shocking, because it's older than both of us, but still.
Yeah. It's
shocking.
Still just like, who it has to just like make feel fucking ancient is like Spielberg and Harrison Ford.
Oh,
like when you
God.
look back at that and you just like think about, like
40 years ago we made this movie.
We made that 40 years ago. And what's cool though is that they're both still, working. Like it's kind of neat. All those years later, they're still working, making like pretty good shit.
But on that topic, though, at what point is Harrison Ford still working elder abuse?
That's a good question. Didn't he like break his leg filming episode 7? I think
the Millennium Falcon door fell over onto his leg. I think he crashed 2 planes since then, and
I forgot about that.
And just like last week, they had to halt filming Indiana Jones 5 because he was rehearsing a fight scene and threw his shoulder out throwing a punch.
Why is he doing the fight scenes?
79-year-old man.
Why is he doing? I mean, I first of all, obviously I love that man and I respect the hell out of him. But like, if you're the it's Spielberg, right? Directing it. How the fuck, like, are you letting him do that? Like, you cannot let 80-year-old Harrison Ford fucking rehearse the fight scenes, and he shouldn't be really, especially in the year 2021, where you can manipulate like anything and make it look pretty legit. It's like, it's so unnecessary.
I don't understand. I love Harrison Ford, but there is a moment where when it comes to him being Indiana Jones, Gwyneth Paltrow just needs to put her hand on his cheek and say, "We'll be okay. You can rest now." And just hang up the hat, hang up the whip, and, get Carl Urban in there or something.
Oh, dude.
Because...
take a drink. It would be a fucking Ron and Geoff podcast if we didn't find a way to crowbar Carl Urban into a franchise.
But I heard that earlier this week.
That's nuts.
79-year-old Indiana Jones hurt himself rehearsing a fight. He threw his shoulder out while throwing a punch. He didn't get punched. He threw his shoulder out throwing a punch.
Can I just go be an extra for the new Indy? I just want to be able to say I got fucking punched in rehearsals by Indiana goddamn Jones.
That happened,
dude. Like,
right?
Please.
Ryan Gosling?
Please.
Right? Didn't Ryan Gosling
do
get
what?
punched by
I believe he did, yeah.
Harrison Ford on Blade Runner 2049?
Yeah, on Blade Runner.
Yeah.
God. I just want to be able to say, yeah, Harrison Ford punched me in the fucking face.
I got punched by Indiana Jones.
So here's just like, I mean, we're gonna obviously get into the movie itself, Raiders, here soon. Oh, spoiler alert for Raiders of the fucking Lost Ark.
40-year-old movie.
Yeah, but are you excited about the fifth Indy movie?
Of course.
See, here's the thing. I always thought that they were, when they were talking up this mythical fucking fifth movie, I was like, it's never gonna happen. Like, after everyone hated Crystal Skull so much, it's like, it's never gonna happen. Right. And the fact that it is, and the fact that they're going out of their way to make it, makes me feel like the script must be actually really good, and I'm actually pretty excited for it.
That, or they found someone else for Indy to put his hat on top of his head at the end of the movie.
Dude, I think I could hear my dad having a panic attack as they almost handed off the fucking hat to Shia LaBeouf in that movie. He's like, oh, thank Christ. When they do the bait and switch at the end. Let's get into it, though. Let's talk about some fucking... I mean, we're going to have random segues. First of all, because it's me and Ron. Yes. But second of all, because, you know, like, I don't throw this around lightly. I can find some type of, like, thing to have critical analysis on. Even in my beloved John Carpenter's The Thing, you know, like I had a quibble. I don't think the opening should have happened with the spaceship.
Right.
You know, it's my favorite movie of all time. Still have a single flaw that I can point out and say I disagree with this decision. I think Raiders of the Lost Ark is a perfect film. I don't think it has a single fucking blemish to it.
I am prone to is it hyperbole, and I tend to say things are a near perfect film is what I usually say. I also believe that Raiders is a perfect film.
Also, I would just like to point out, Raiders of the Lost Ark has a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes, and if you are part of that 5%, first of all, burn in hell. Second of all, if you don't burn in hell, please get your faces melted off by angel ghosts. That's also an acceptable outcome. But also, how the fuck do you downvote Raiders of the goddamn Lost Ark, dude?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Hey, that needs to be one of chalk that up to the drinking game for this podcast as well. Me complaining about the people that downvoted a thing on Rotten Tomatoes, because that's just a thing that I do.
We just need Screenplay Rewind bingo at this point.
Oh yeah. You got Carl Urban, Dark Souls, Geoff complaining about the minority percentage votes on Rotten Tomatoes, and other shit that were probably free. But yeah, you know, I'm sure Bobby has a bingo by now. You know,
probably.
Shit, just listen to the fucking green rooms. Fucking instant bingo. Yeah, it's okay. I don't really think it needs to be stated, but Ron, I don't know if you're aware of this, but Raiders of the Lost Ark, directed by Steven Spielberg.
What?
Who would have thunk? Yeah, shocking news. Screenplay was by Lawrence Kasdan, who had also written Empire Strikes Back, off of the general story by George Lucas and Philip Kaufman. I know, it's crazy. And it's a little independent film actor that, you know, never really took off. Harrison Ford, you know. Yeah. I know. Karen Allen as Marion. Just here's a quick aside. Why did they feel the need to have different female leads?
I'm gonna guess 007.
Oh, I can see that.
That's my guess.
I never... Because, like, Marion is so fucking awesome in this. Like, why they... Or did... Now that I say that, did she have, like, a fucking argument with Spielberg or something? Like, I don't know why I have that,
She got into it with someone, I want to say.
Yeah, or maybe Harrison Ford. I obviously, you know, they had her back for Crystal Skull, which was one of my favorite things about Crystal Skull, was just the fact that they had Marion back, you know? It's pretty cool. Paul Freeman is Belloc. By the way, did you know Paul Freeman was Ivan Ooze?
Yep.
I did not know that Belloc was Ivan Ooze. I just found that out like this week, and I was like, what? Because I never knew that.
Mm-hmm. That's where I learned his name as a child, actually. So it was later when I grew up, I realized that I was seeing him as Belloc. Belloc. Yeah.
Man, he's fucking good in this, too.
Oh, dude. He's like, one of my favorite movie villains.
Every performance, and I also just love the fact that he's a villain, but he's so likable because he's just like such a suave asshole about it.
I want to get into that later.
Yeah,
because he has a line about it.
Okay,
That is one of the
Ronald
few mental
Lacey.
notes I have.
Ronald Lacey as
So creepy.
Is it Tote? I feel like they never fucking say his name, and if they do, it's.
I think it's probably Tote, German.
Yeah. John Rhys Davies as Sala, Chef's Kiss, dude. I fucking love me some John Rhys Davies.
Younger people that maybe are less familiar with Indiana Jones probably know him as Gimli and Treebeard.
Yes. His most iconic role for sure, but I also fucking love him as Sala. He's awesome.
Oh, I fucking love Sala, dude. He's such a bro.
Yeah, he's the best. Denholm Elliott plays Brody. I always liked just a little fun fact that Dr. Octopus himself, Alfred Molina, is Satipo at the beginning, who,
throw me the whip.
Toss me the idol.
Toss me the idol. I toss you the whip. Yep. Yep. Making a return as Doc Ock, also, by the way.
I heard about that. I'm pretty excited about that. He's how much of fucking beautiful, inspired casting was him as Doc Ock? Like, it's such a travesty.
It's the
to
best
me.
part of that movie.
It's the best. Like, it's the best part of that. It's such a travesty to me looking back on those Spider-Man movies, because fucking Defoe as Green Goblin is amazing, and Alfred Molina as Doc Ock is fucking incredible. And it's just like, how are the casting people making these like ingenious villain choices on their actors, yet think that fucking Kirsten Dunst can be Mary Jane and that Tobey Maguire can play Peter Parker?
Now,
like, just two terrible casting choices.
The slack that I do give that trilogy is, you and I have often said on our old podcast, a hero is only as good as their villains, and the villains make those movies, dude.
They really do, but also just like, dude, Kirsten Dunst is fucking terrible as Mary Jane.
Yep.
Good God. She has no charisma, and Mary Jane is just like pure charisma. And I just like, I obviously know that maybe they were able to swing like Molina and Defoe because they were like, yeah, we'll get, in vogue actors and actresses for,
get the Species guy as Doc Ock. Why not?
Yeah, fuck it.
He did, and he died horribly.
I don't know. I don't know. I just don't get it. It just makes me sad because, good God, they were so good. Yeah. So I don't even know where to begin with talking. Like, where do you begin talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark? I sounded like you had some topics. I have fucking no notes.
I have no notes. I have a couple of talking points in my mind, but
okay.
I guess we'll go ahead and get into Paul Freeman. Belloc, dude, is one of my all-time favorite nemesis in any movie, I think, because he has a line about midway through the movie about how he's just a darker version of Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
And if you stop and think about every decision Indy makes throughout the movie, and think about every decision Belloc makes, Indy is always just one step away from doing the same thing that Belloc did. Like, it's not a lie, and it's not the stereotypical, but you and I, we are the same. It's not like the stereotypical thing. They literally are the same. He is just a more shadowy version of Indiana Jones, and he proves it near the end of the movie when Indy threatens to blow up the Ark, and he's like, all right, go ahead. And he just can't do it for all the same reasons that Belloc says he wouldn't.
I fucking love that scene so much. When he just fucking pulls up the rocket launcher, you're just like, dude,
you realize,
yes, please,
that this is a movie where the main hero lost.
Yeah.
He lost the fight in that moment.
It's so good. Yeah. We'll definitely.
The fact that he that he knows the stories about the Bible is why he lives.
I really like the quote. I pulled up the exact quote from Belloc that you were referring to. You and I are very much
scene
alike.
Where he eats the fly.
Dude. No, I noticed that too, and just like, dude, I have a news. You are committed, my friend. Because like, how do you just not instinctively just like?
It crawls into his mouth, and he has zero reaction.
Yeah, fucking cute. Give him the fucking best supporting Oscar on set for eating the fucking fly like a goddamn man, dude. I just want to I want to hack up a lung. Just okay. Here's the quote though. You and I are very much alike. Archaeology is our religion. Yet we both have fallen from the pure faith. Our methods have not differed as much as you pretend. I am but a shadowy reflection of you. It would take only a nudge to make you like me, to push you out of the light. And then Indy says, now you're getting nasty.
Yes.
So good.
It's
yeah,
so
Belloc's
good.
fucking awesome.
Yeah, I love Belloc as a he's probably one of my favorite nemesis in any movie, just because everything he says is true. And Indiana Jones is not necessarily a great guy, you know?
No, he's
kind of an ass.
He's a criminal.
Yeah.
Like
Brody
he
even makes the remark about how first he's just like Belloc, and then he's like, "Yeah, you want to hear about it?" He's like, "Oh no, I sure your methods are all legal. We'll buy whatever you got, of course." He wants to know nothing for plausible deniability.
And this is another thing too. That like, I think one of the biggest strengths of this movie is Lawrence Kasdan's screenplay for it, because like, you know, George Lucas and Philip Kaufman, they had the general story for Indiana Jones, but to me, like, what makes Indiana Jones what it is how they take these serialized characters, because, you know, obviously it's a nod to, you know, like old serial films from like the 20s and 30s, but those characters in those films that you know that George Lucas wanted to bring back are basically archetypes, but no one is really like an archetype in Indiana Jones. Everyone is kind of a fleshed out and human version of those old archetypes. You know, like with Belloc is a naturally kind of fleshed out and thought out villain. I think Indiana Jones is actually very fleshed out subtly. Like one of my favorite just little subsects of the movie, like with his character, is I really like the scene where he is in front of the classroom.
Yes.
And all of the female students are obviously just like gawking over, you know, like gorgeous 70s and, you know, early 80s Harrison Ford, and they're all madly in love with him. And one of the students, she has "Love You"
on her
written
eyes
with like fucking Sharpie on her eyelids, and she closes her eyes when he, you know, happens to turn her way.
Yeah.
And he acts so awkward about it.
Yeah.
I love that he is like an actual dude who isn't, you know, this just like fucking sex god. You know, he's not
whipping
suave.
weapons out of people's hands. He was just defying death at every turn. He was shooting guns. He's being shot at. The thing that gives him pause is her eyelids say "love you,"
and it's just he has a problem. You know, he's like, because all the old archetypes, all of the old, you know, leading men from these old serials in the 20s and 30s
women
were just like perfect dudes. Yeah, women throw themselves at him, and he's just a complete suave romancer. And Indiana Jones is anything but. He always has issues with women, and I just love that character quirk, you know, because it makes him more believable while he's doing all of this like insane shit that you're talking about. You know, like he's basically a superhero, but he's like a Marvel superhero, and that he has, you know, flaws. And yeah, I love his characterization a lot.
First off, I guess, did you notice, have you ever paid attention to the students leaving the room? There's the camera angle is just looking into the doorway as the students are coming out, and you can kind of see him in the back and Brody on the left. Have you ever noticed that there's like 3 dudes in the class?
Oh no, I didn't notice that, but yeah. I totally
There's only like
believe
3
it, yeah.
dudes, and one of the dudes leaves an apple on his desk.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. But dude, seeing Brody again, this is spoilers for a future podcast, but just seeing the portrait of him on the desk in Crystal Skull makes me so sad every time.
Right. Yeah.
Because I love Brody. Brody's such
really
a great
cool
character. On the surface, he's kind of worthless, but he's actually not.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I like him a lot, and it's mostly just because like he has very little screen time here, but
Last Crusade,
Denholm Elliott is just, you know, even in his small amount of screen time in Raiders, like he makes an instantly likable.
Yeah,
yeah,
he makes an impression. The beauty of this script. Okay, so you were talking about archetypes and in the old serials. Now playing into archetypes is kind of considered bad filmmaking, but back in the days of the serials, it was a fast way of cueing in the audience of just what kind of character this is and who you're supposed to root for and who you're not, right? And they play with that in this, but one of the greatest strengths this script has, in my opinion, is established. There is no Indiana Jones origin story.
Sure.
So we introduce the character in that opening scene with Doc Ock, right? Going through the jungle. He finds an idol. There's no reason why. No one's telling us what this is. No one's telling us the significance of it. They're telling us nothing because none of that matters. We're getting everything we need to know about Indiana Jones from this scene. And then that's the action-adventure side. The next thing we immediately cut to is the classroom, where we see...
Which, by the way, before you switch, just real quick, how awesome is it when they first start showing him that he's always in the shadows?
Yes.
Or, like the first thing I think you see of Indiana Jones is, like, his hand on the whip and shit like that. I love that.
How many heroes have a whip, dude? Fucking awesome.
Yeah,
fucking
awesome.
Great. But the next time we see him, right, we cut from there when he narrowly escapes from Belloc, essentially, is in the classroom. We see the quirkiness you're talking about. We see the other side of him, and we see that he's not just a brute. He's fucking smart. He knows his shit. With that, it gives him good character motivation that he's such a nerd and is so enthusiastic about everything because it's all genuine. Exactly. And the scene with the government nameless nobodies, where they're talking about the Ark and they're talking about Tanis and the Staff of Ra, and all that's kind of a joke now because this movie's 40 years old and everything emulates it. And the Staff of Ra is a robot chicken joke now. But hey, Crayola, see if you can reach up with your Staff of Ra and close that vent. Anyway. Sorry, I love Robot Chicken. But in that scene, with him and Brody, instead of the exposition computer, we have our main characters doing it. And it sets up everything you need to know to move forward in the movie. But we're not diving into Indiana Jones's personal life. We're not diving into why he's doing these things. We don't need to know. Much like Empire Strikes Back just hits the ground running, this movie is already hit the ground and is already running when we come in. And
it's cool too because
it condenses it. It makes the script more simple.
And they give you you just enough to kind of pique your interest, but they don't ever bog the movie down. I like the fact that they never really go into detail as far as Indiana Jones's relationship with Marion, even.
Yeah.
They obviously talk about how they had a falling out, but it's always left, they never have a scene like any other movie would have where they go step by step and explain to you exactly what happened,
right.
And they never do that. It's cool that they, because it makes it more believable in their exchanges too, because you have to kind of grind the movie to a halt to force and crowbar that exposition in, but they wouldn't really talk about it because it's already an established thing, for them as people.
Yeah.
So I've always liked, and he's with Empire Strikes Back, I think Lawrence a lot of the things that people love about the characters in Star Wars isn't because of George Lucas, it's because of Lawrence Kasdan. All the characterizations that people like about a good chunk of the characters in Star Wars, as far as the original characters, is from Lawrence Kasdan being able to actually break down these characters and really flesh them out and kind of evolve them into being, coincidentally less archetypes like they are in A New Hope. And he's just always so that was actually a reason that when I was doing a little bit of research for it, they liked his work so much on the scripts for Empire, which hadn't been released yet. Mm-hmm. They liked it so much. At the time they had started full on production for Indiana Jones, the first for Raiders. They liked his work on some of the script revisions and everything that he was doing with Empire. That they hired him specifically to turn Indiana Jones from just a story into a screenplay.
Right. Yeah. God, dude, this movie. Did you notice, by the way, that I never noticed this until this time. This is one of the two things I'd never noticed before. The font is the Jurassic Park font, just white.
Huh. I had never noticed that.
I had never noticed that until I was watching it. Also...
Was that pointed out to you, or did you just happen to...
I just happened to notice it this time. because Jurassic Park's been kind of in my mind recently with the new one coming out soon, and I actually want to cover it on the show at some point soon. But yeah, you watched the same Blu-ray set that I did. We found out earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Did it take you a minute to get used to looking at it?
No.
It took me a moment to get used to looking at it.
What, it being like a pretty version of the...
I think it struck me as kind of being like an AI-driven up-res. And like it seemed to me like, you know how instead of like motion blur, you can have like frame 1 and frame 2, if that's point A and point B. The computer can just interpret frames in between to get to that point, so you can up the frame rate on stuff. It kind of looked like it looked weird. I have DVD copies, but I had mostly watched this movie on VHS before, and that's kind of how I remember it. And this seemed entirely different to me, watching it on this Blu-ray version.
I similarly grew up watching it extensively on VHS. Mm-hmm. And maybe it was just because I was younger when I was doing so, but I didn't.
I mean, it looked good. I'm not knocking it. I'm just it took me a minute.
It's just a different.
This
is a different experience when it's up-resed version of what is, and especially like just like with the way it was filmed and the type of film that it is. It's a very grainy type of movie they're making. It's like kind of like a grit and that kind of beige filter to it. To make because they're in the like the fucking. Yeah. Deserts and shit. You do that when you're in that environment for movie making. It's like 101. But I never took me out of it, or I just
I didn't really. I don't know how to describe it.
Even though I've seen this movie countless times, the fucking pacing is just so fucking perfect.
So good.
I get sucked in immediately, and I feel like I'm a little kid again. Like, you remember those times when you were a little kid? And if you were interested in a movie, it was like your entire world just came to like a grinding halt.
And then 10 minutes later, it was over.
And all that existed was like you and the movie you were watching.
Yes.
That's so like what this movie makes me feel like. And it very rarely happens, because most of the time when I watch the movie now, it's like, you eventually, you pull out your fucking phone or something distracts you, because we're all fucking ADHD.
Yep.
We can't go fucking 10 minutes without looking at our cell phones or pulling up Twitter or fucking Facebook and shit like that. But man, Indiana Jones, this one and Last Crusade.
I cannot wait till my kids are older, dude. Cannot wait
that's gonna be fun.
Kids are older and just kind of rediscover it through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super cool.
I have a question for you, and I've been thinking about this a lot since I watched the movie last night. Ronald Lacey played Toad. Toady Tot.
Yeah.
So that archetype, everything paying homage to this character, or is this character paying homage to like the old serials?
This character, it's both. This character is definitely paying homage to all those old characters, but the reason it continues to be a trope to this day is because of how iconic Raiders is, I think.
Probably. Because like if you even think to stuff more recent, like Man from U.N.C.L.E., right? The dude that's torturing Henry Cavill. And ends up bursting into flames in his own device, is very similar.
We should cover that movie for this show.
Yeah, we should.
I love that movie, and like 12 people have fucking seen it.
It's such a good movie. We're never getting the sequel now with all the shit about Armie Hammer coming out, but...
that's so tragic to me, because I've always really liked Armie Hammer. And of course, he's a psychopath, because like almost every famous person I happen to like ends up being a fucking sociopathic, like just fucking crazy person.
I know.
It sucks.
It's so bad, but yeah. What is, when you think Raiders, what scene in this movie comes to your mind?
The opening.
The opening?
The opening, and the opening is just like so fucking iconic, and I always, because I also as an extension, like the closing moments of the opening, I always think back to him in the plane with the snake, because I've always, because that's another thing too. It's like, you're talking about how earlier, it's just, what does he say to him? Like, yeah, he tells Indy to kind of like grow some stones or whatever, and quit being a bitch about it.
I hate snakes, John.
I hate him. I hate him. Yeah. And then that's I like another twist on that. It's like you were talking about earlier about how he does all this miraculous super heroic shit when he's in full Indiana Jones mode, and 5 minutes later, he's just like they talk about how he's fucking petrified of snakes, and he has to fucking fly all the way home with that fucking like anaconda in his lap, just like fuck that dude.
5 minutes earlier, he was covered in spiders.
Oh man, that scene when
is there something on my back?
When Satipo turns around and he just has 50 fucking giant tarantula. Like I'm not afraid of I'm not an arachnophobe, but still you're just like fuck that dude.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's the best.
The thing that I love about Harrison Ford being Indiana Jones, I don't know how much of this he brought himself. I imagine all of it, because this is all an excuse to give the audiences more Han Solo, basically. And the little things that Harrison Ford does is what makes this character so great to me. So, like, for instance, you mentioned the opening just now, right? You know when Satipo drops the whip and, gives him the Doc Ock look as he smiles and walks away, and he has to jump across the ravine full of spikes, and he's grasping at literal straws. It's like this little braid of grass that he's going after. He gets it, and for an instant he just has this big grin on his face until it breaks and he starts to slide to his death again.
Yeah.
It's just, you blink and you miss it, moments like that with him. Or like, he's climbing up the plane, he's trying to sneak, and the guy catches him. He's like, all right. He comes down, knocks out the guy, starts climbing up the plane again, and the second guy comes. He's like, and then climbs back down from the plane and has to fight this guy now, right? The little things like that, the little bits of body language that you get from Harrison Ford, which I presume is him bringing it to the table, because it's kind of prototypical Harrison Ford in every movie he's in, the little facial expressions and the little things like the smiles that come and go in certain key moments and stuff. But to me, that is Indiana Jones, right?
Yeah.
Is those type of moments.
Yeah, I agree. And also the other scene that I think of is when he shoots the swordsman, which was just completely improvised by him. And it's funny that like such an iconic and important note for his type of character, came with him improvising it. Feels appropriate because so much of Indiana Jones is also Harrison Ford. But what was the scene that since you asked it, like what's the first scene that comes to mind when you think of it?
The first thing that comes to my mind when I think of Raiders, I know it's kind of a boring answer, but I think it's got to be the map room of all things in Tanis.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And the reason for that is it's like the first moment that he has outwitted Belloc, right? It's just like, it's not just an important moment in the movie. It's an important character moment. He's always getting one-upped by Belloc. You see it happen once, but up to this point anyway. But they made clear in the conversation with Brody, because Brody says with a smile on his face, "Oh, Belloc, like again?" Right? Like this is a thing that happens to him repeatedly, and we know Belloc is digging in the wrong place because his staff is too long. Giggity. So,
which how genius of a plot point is it that they're looking in the wrong spot because Tote's hand got burned with the outline of the medallion, but the medallion had
two
instructions
sides
on both sides. That's such a cool little detail that is, I love you.
And to
Lawrence
honor the
Kasdan.
Hebrew god, to take away but was it basically like 1 foot or 1 cubit? Was it 1 cubit?
Yeah.
Have you ever done that, by the way? It fucking hurts.
Done what?
To burn yourself on something so hard you could hold your hand up to a mirror and read the serial number on it?
I have not.
I have.
But I can imagine it being fucking terrible. Were you also trying to
recreate the Sephiroth?
Yeah.
No, I was a child, which is code for I was an idiot. And my dad had been tilling the garden with one of those big ass tillers, just the massive ones. And I was looking for him. I'm out in the yard. I'm looking for him. I don't know where he is. And, kids touch things. Kids touch everything. Even when they don't need to touch stuff, they touch stuff. And I'm just kind of, looking around to see if my dad's outside. So one hand goes on the fender of the tiller. The other hand goes on the muffler.
Oof.
And
yeah, that's the last time you ever make that mistake, my friend.
Oh, yeah. It was the first and last time I've ever done that. And I could read the serial number on the muffler if I held my hand up to the mirror. I'm not even joking, dude.
That's fucked up.
It
dude.
was fucked up. I had the exact shape. It was round. It was like a round can, but imagine a bunch of holes in the end of it, right, for the exhaust to come out. And I had the imprint of all of that in my hand perfectly. You could cast my hand and get an exact duplicate of the end of that muffler.
Yeah, fuck that.
It sucked so bad. And I think of that every time I hear that. So as he's holding the staff head, and you're sitting there watching the movie like, just drop it, 5 head, but that's not your reaction when you're in intense pain.
Yeah. And it also would take a second for the pain to become real. Like when you've hurt, it happens to me a lot. I don't know if it happens to like you a lot, but you ever like really hurt yourself and not even like fully realized it? You ever have that happen?
Disassociated from it.
Yeah, like when that happens, it's so weird. It's like an out of body reaction to it, and you're just like, how the fuck did I not know this? You'll look down here. Yeah,
that happened to me when I crashed my motorcycle on 169. That I felt that. Yeah. It was a weird experience.
Yeah, because you can imagine that thing would be so just like fucking intensely hot. He didn't actually probably feel fucking any pain at all for the first couple of seconds. And it's not until like that kind of. And that was probably direction from Spielberg, to be honest.
Yeah,
like, because it's a real thing that happens to people all the time.
Another thing I want to talk about is, can we talk about Karen Allen as Marion? Not necessarily Marion, but Karen Allen as Marion.
Yeah, of course. She's fantastic.
Dude, her range and ability to make that character what she is. Like, watching this again, I've always just watched it like, oh man, that's typical Marion, right? But watching it critically for the podcast, watching her be the most tomboyish tomboy, and then in the tent with Belloc, just kind of turn and start like batting her eyelashes and like wearing that smile, and like the way she can just turn on the charm to try to charm Belloc. And then immediately, God damn it, Indiana Jones! like you're such an asshole.
I love that. I love that bit where she's in the tent with Belloc and she just gets him shit faced, and she's like literally like about to be able to legitimately escape, on her own accord.
Or is she? Like, right? Like when she turns it off, Belloc turns it off at the same time.
True, but now Belloc is a badass, but they have fully established that no fucking human being on the planet can outdrink or keep up with Marion. So I think Marion has actually gotten the upper hand, and
I agree.
Belloc just kind of like sobers up in the moment as the scene progresses. I think she's won because you just see how much she can fucking drink earlier on, dude. Like I think she legit like.
Sorry, continue.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, what a beautiful way to introduce a character than the first time we see Marion.
It's just fucking great, dude.
Right?
Love it.
Everything you need to know about a character told to you in about 5 minutes or less. Oh my God, because she's doing the same thing, right? Because instantly, it seems like she's one, like she might be the one that passes out. And as soon as the dude passes out, she's just like instantly sober. Like she's not even drunk. Just like, all right, pay up. Like, where's the money? Like, it's all an act. Just like with Belloc in the tent.
How incredible is it too, the way that she wins the drinking match, where the guy he has that smile on his face as he just starts like slowly falling out of the chair.
He's got that smile like he just won as he passes out, which was you and me playing Dark Souls 2 on my stream.
Oh, dude. I believe you, but I don't remember it. God damn, this fucking movie, dude. It's just it's fucking perfection. It is absolute perfection. I also like that Marion scene where Indy is about to like untire.
Yeah.
And he realizes if he lets her go, then they won't be able to continue the quest. So he's like, okay, I hate that I have to do this.
Yes.
But
that's what I was thinking of when I said that he's not necessarily a great guy either. But on the other hand, like, he knows Belloc, right? Like, Belloc.
Yeah, he's not. It's just like the Big Lebowski quote. You know, you're not wrong, Walter. You're just an asshole.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Belloc. It's weird because the dynamic with Marion and Belloc, because on the one hand, like Indiana Jones, he keeps trying to protect her. On the other hand, he's a fucking sexual predator. Right? Because she is his, and he does the whole Jessica Jones thing. Remember when David Tennant made Jessica Jones send the pictures? He's like, here, wear this dress for me.
Yeah.
And like, he's like trying to freshen up, but he's not looking at himself in the mirror. He's watching her change and stuff. And it's like, oh my God. But how many?
He's such a scumbag, but he's such a likable scumbag.
He's such a likable scumbag, but at the same time, he is also legitimately trying to protect her, and he's legitimately upset when she gets tossed in the thing into the pit of snakes, which is your worst nightmare, I believe.
Oh, dude, the scenes they have of just showing the mounds of snakes just like crawling on top of each other makes my skin crawl.
Indy, why does the floor move? Ass, very dangerous. You go first.
Oh, I fucking love Saul.
The look Indy
I love that bit after Marion kisses him and he starts doing his like fucking sea shanty through the bay.
Yes.
So good.
I also, speaking of the bay, he's got no screen time at all. But fucking oh god damn it. I can't find it on IMDb. Is it Katanga? Captain Katanga?
I think so.
Yeah, Katanga. George Harris. Dude. I like Katanga. And
yeah, he's pretty dope.
If they ever wanted to do, like, you know how today everything is about, like, let's spin off a character and give them their own thing. I want to know more about Katanga, dude.
Yeah, just have fucking, because they're basically like mercenary pirates and smugglers and shit. Like, God knows what they've. Also, just how awesome is that scene when they are looking for Indy and they find him as he pops up on the submarine and they're all just like cheering him on. I fucking love that bit, dude.
I love that.
They're like the whole fucking boat is just like cheering him on from across the water. It's awesome.
Because your natural reaction is, did Katanga sell them out at first, right? The first time you watch this, that would be your natural reaction. And then, like, when the main Nazi guy is wanting to take her, and he's trying to protect her by, no, she's going to fetch a really nice price where we're going. We're going to sell her. If you take her, I lose everything on this trip. This costs me money. Leave her. Because he's desperately trying to find a reason for them to leave her with him so she doesn't have to go with the freaking Nazis.
Yeah.
Right? Like, but he's spinning it. He's not just saying, oh, no, spare her. He's saying, oh, no, she's going to fetch us a very nice price. And, you know, he's just playing it up, trying to protect her. Like, he's a solid bro. And of course he is. He's friends with Sala.
Yeah.
I mean, you introduce him by saying, Dr. Jones, I've heard a lot about you. You look exactly how I imagined you would.
Yeah, and if Sala vouches for you, you know the dude's a solid bro. That's all you need to hear. Because Sala is the ultimate bro himself, you know?
Yeah.
Any friend of Sala's is a friend of mine.
Exactly.
He's the fucking goat.
I want to be friends with Sala. Not Jonathan Rhys Davies. I'm going to be friends with Sala.
I mean, I want to be friends with both of them. Can we just have... Yeah.
On Saturdays, he just dresses as Sala.
Oh, man.
Dude, no.
That's great.
There is a... What's the Jason Statham movie? In the Name of the King?
I think?
Jonathan Rhys Davies is like a fucking wizard sorcerer in that's working with Jason Statham.
Okay, I have to watch that movie now just because of the sentence you just uttered in the universe. I have to.
It's fucking amazing.
I didn't know that. I didn't know. That is so ridiculous that I have to witness it with my own eyes.
No, it's fucking amazing. Of course, he's the best part of the entire movie.
Oh, of course.
Let me just verify. In the Name of the King is what I want to say it's called. I haven't seen it in years.
Yeah,
but at the time, I liked Jason Statham, and I always loved Jonathan Rhys-Davies. So,
of course, yeah, absolutely. And we will also be one thing we actually have planned in advance is we'll be talking up more Mr. Rhys-Davies because later this year, towards the end of the year, we're going to be covering Lord of the Rings in honor of the fucking. God damn, I'm so old. The 20-year anniversary of Fellowship, dude. Fuck me. God damn it, I'm old.
Yeah, that's a thing. Jonathan Rhys-Davies plays Merrick, and he's like a sorcerer. That is a good name for a sorcerer, by the way.
Can we have a movie where Sala's wizard character faces off against Jeremy Irons' wizard character in the Dungeons and Dragons movie? Because I will. You know how like Disney Plus is like $30 to watch like Mulan and shit like that? I would actually pay that for that project.
Right? Ray Liotta is the villain of that movie.
Oh, Ray Liotta.
Ron Perlman's
crazy
in
bastard.
It. I want to say Ray Liotta is like an evil wizard that is now king. Burt Reynolds is fucking in it, dude.
Does he still talk like a fucking Italian New Yorker drug dealer? Because I just automatically think of Goodfellas every time I see Ray Liotta.
He's quintessential Ray Liotta. Yeah. He's Ray Liotta needs to pay his mortgage this month. Ray Liotta.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
No, it's if you like Jonathan Rhys-Davies, like he's definitely the best part of that movie. But yeah, love that man so much. But
me too.
Can we talk about the arc itself?
No, I think we got to wrap it up.
All right.
Yeah. Check back next week, folks. We're not sinking, we're crashing.
As soon as you say, no, they're going to wrap it up, it's just outro music. It just stops. Oh my God. Shit. Dude, okay. My parents are religious, but they're not like religious. Right. And I did grow up in all the Sunday schools and all the Christian private schools and all that. So knowing the Bible stories that I know, their depiction of the ark and everything and how terrible and awesome it is. Like, I fucking love the quote from Brody when the dude's like, my God, when he sees the picture of it just laying waste. And Brody goes, that's just what the Hebrews thought. Like, it's just like, my God. And yeah, the design of the ark, when you hear the Ark of the Covenant, you think of this movie's ark, right?
Oh yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
For how intricate and beautifully that thing is designed, what's it got? 30 seconds screen time, maybe?
Yeah, you can automatically in your mind you can see the shimmery light out of it. You know,
it's almost treated like a Lovecraft monster. Like, you see the top of it, then later you kind of see it from the side for a moment as someone passes by the camera. You kind of get a top-down view of it in the crate. You never really see the whole thing in all of its glory unless it's in like dim lighting, right? Like,
also, you said Lovecraft, so Bobby just got a SPR bingo. That was the other drinking game worthy reference. You got it. Congratulations, Bobby. You win.
But yeah, and I think one of my two go-to favorite shots in Hollywood. One of the two, or both of them are from this movie, but one of the two from this movie that I'm specifically thinking of is, remember the swastika just burning itself off of the box?
Oh, yeah.
Come on. The rat
Yeah.
is like fucking dying as it's happening. It's like pulling away from like the blistering heat as it's like melting, radiating the swastika off.
And that's a cool little tidbit too. Is Indiana Jones actually has a character? I was about to say character arc, and just like completely unintentional pun. He has a character arc in this because if you remember in the beginning portions of the movie when he's talking about the Ark and stuff, he specifically is calling out how he doesn't believe in the superstitions.
Yeah, Brody is like warning him maybe he shouldn't do this.
Yeah. And Indy is just not having it. He doesn't believe in the superstitious aspects of anything. But throughout the course of this movie and throughout the course to all the just like weird shit he starts to see, it's his idea and him buying into the supernatural is what saves him and Marion. You know, it's his idea to have them not look. Yeah. And that is that's a very different perspective for him to have compared to what he has in the beginning scenes of the film.
That's what I was referring to when I said his knowledge of the Bible is the only reason they survived this, because they lost.
Yeah.
And in the Bible, anytime the Ark is opened, the people not looking are the ones that live.
Yeah.
So
yeah. It's just cool though to see him actually buy it. And yeah, the scene of the and obviously the most memorable section is where their fucking faces are melting off, but the imagery they have of like the ghosts darting around and like taking all their equipment and shit is also just fucking great.
I fucking love everything about it. I'm all about it. You know that they, the ancient astronaut theory people? I think that because, there's a grain of truth to every myth. They even say that in this movie. And they believe that the Ark was some sort of alien technology that was radioactive. That's why opening it killed people.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
But, when you don't even have a word for alien or extraterrestrial, it's why the Hebrew word for alien is angel. You just think of it as an act of God. But, yeah, dude. This movie, I had another talking point, but it's gone. I can't think of it. But, yeah. I did say that there were two things that I think of when it comes from a cinematography standpoint. One of them is just slowly moving in on the Ark as the swastika burns off of the box. The other one is when night is falling as they're digging, and you're looking at a distance with all of them in silhouette, and you see him putting on the hat.
Oh, yeah.
To me,
I love
that is a quintessential Indiana Jones shot. We got the first iteration of a stereotypical joke. So they do this again in Last Crusade, and they might even do it in Temple of Doom. I don't know. I don't remember, but it makes me laugh every time that I see it in one of these movies. He knocks out the dude. The uniform doesn't fit. The next dude comes along, and he's looking at the dude and sizing him up, and then knocks him unconscious.
Fucking love it. God damn, this movie is perfect. Fuck you, 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. You fucking bastards. You have no taste, and I hope you never reviewed film again. Because this movie is fucking genius, and I will hear nothing about it.
They do it again in Last Crusade. It's like all the buttons are about to pop off of the suit.
Man, I'm actually really excited to watch Last Crusade, because I adore Last Crusade, but I haven't watched it as many times as I have Raiders, so I can basically just like recite Raiders from memory, but... Dude. Last Crusade, I'm really excited to watch
Raiders and Last Crusade so much, but my dad's absolute favorite was Last Crusade, so we watched it on loop. It's the one that I've watched more.
So that's when you watch more. See, my parents love all of them pretty much, but their favorite is at least my dad's favorite is Raiders. I think my mother's favorite is Temple of Doom, and that's why we don't speak much. But I am excited to revisit Temple of Doom as well, just to kind of see if because my opinions towards Temple of Doom have always been kind of negative, really just by association. Because like Raiders and Last Crusade are like two of my top like 10 to 15 like favorite movies, period. And for Temple of Doom to be like okay, but not nearly as good. But maybe I will have like a more positive opinion on it, looking back on it now that I'm an old ass fucking boomer. And
if nothing else, it's more Indiana Jones, which is all Indy 5 is going to be. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Let me tell you something. As someone who just recently played through all 4 Uncharted games and is currently replaying Tomb Raider, I sat through this movie going Uncharted 3, Uncharted 4, Uncharted 1. From scene to scene to scene. Like, yep, that's Rise of the Tomb Raider. Mm-hmm. Okay, Shadow, yeah. Okay. Uncharted 3 again.
Yeah. I mean, it's a cultural touchstone across like so many media.
Adam Savage of Mythbusters wears that hat because of Indiana Jones, because of Raiders of the Lost Ark. That's why he's always wearing that hat. And because of Raiders of the Lost Ark, he learned how to make whips and how to use a whip. He's certified. He can fucking use a whip, legit. And
I would fucking strangle myself immediately if I tried to use a whip.
That's not how you use a whip. They're not for autoerotic asphyxiation.
Oh, to your point about the Uncharted stuff, I think they literally waited to have the kids scene with Uncharted until the third one, just as an homage to
I agree.
Last Crusade. Like, that has to be the only reason you would wait until the third one to open up with that scene is to homage it. Like, they had to have had that fucking planned from like day one of the original, the first game being made, you know, like without a fucking doubt in my mind.
Uncharted 3 also, I want to say, is the one where you start out on horseback riding up to a caravan in the desert, and you're jumping from vehicle to vehicle, back to your horse, back to a vehicle, all the way to the front of the caravan to save Sullivan. And, you know, Raiders of the Lost Ark, he's on horseback, he rides up to the caravan that has the Ark, jumps into the truck. Also, that's another thing. Our hero gets shot, Jeff. We didn't even mention that. He gets shot in the fucking shoulder.
Oh, yeah.
And when, how painful is it to watch that guy beat him mercilessly in the bullet wound?
Oh, man, it's rough.
And the thing that I laugh out loud to every time, and I did last night, is when the guy throws Indiana Jones out the front of the truck. He slides down the front of the truck, and then he makes his way underneath, comes back in, rams the guy's head into the dashboard, same way he did to Indy. Then he throws the guy out the front of the truck the way he did Indy. And the guy ends up dying the way he intended Indy to die.
Like, that chase sequence, as he is like one by one taking out all of the cars, is one of the best action sequences ever put on fucking film.
And they do it again. Last Crusade has one that's just as good.
Fuck.
It's broken into two parts, but it's got one that's just as good.
I also wanted to just quickly point out, because you talked about how much you love the cinematography of like the silhouettes.
Yes.
One of my favorite bits of cinematography probably ever is how good is the lighting in the bar scene in Nepal, as it's like going through different stages of being like set on fire.
Yes.
And just like the way they use the fire to illuminate all of the fights and everything is fucking beautiful, dude. It's so good. I don't know if this counts as foreshadowing, but there's something they do in that scene they do again later. Remember when his face is being held to the bar, the dude lights it on fire, and he asks for the whiskey, and he hits the guy, and the fire goes past. And like, you watch the fire coming down the bar in the background as it's happening and stuff. Yeah.
When she's in the plane and he's trying to get her out, if you look in the background, the fire, you watch it creeping closer to the truck the entire time like a lit fuse. And it's exactly the same thing that they did at the bar, with his face pushed against the bar as the flame is coming.
Fucking perfect. This movie is fucking perfect.
We don't deserve this movie.
Before we really don't. But so before we close out, though, I did want to touch on a little tidbit that I fucking adore about this movie, even more so now that you had talked about earlier. That he fucking loses to Belloc.
He loses.
Like, just the fact that he is tied up. And if the Ark wasn't actually supernatural, Marion and Indiana Jones die because of the events of this movie.
You could
it's
also
fucking
argue,
cool.
You could also argue that Indiana Jones is the reason Belloc won.
Yeah.
He was digging in the wrong spot.
If Indiana Jones if he could just contain himself, there's a chance Belloc never would have found it at all.
Think about it.
If he just walked away.
The Nazis are breathing down Belloc's neck, right? He's digging.
Yeah.
You know he's digging in the wrong spot, and you know from their conversations that they're ready to pull out because he's not giving them anything.
Yeah, because Hitler is obviously fucking impatient about it because he's Adolf fucking Hitler.
Yeah.
Like, of course.
So if Indy had never showed up, the Nazis possibly just pull out and leave Belloc in the desert.
Yeah. Because they like, to your point, like they appear like they're on the verge of pulling the plug on the whole fucking project and looking in different places.
Also,
and they never would have known.
Yeah.
They never would have found
Never would have known.
I really think that.
And
yeah, so his own selfishness. Yeah. I still like those games a lot.
Oh no, I'm not knocking them. I'm not knocking them at all. Those games are
they're
amazing.
insanely derivative, but I cannot fault someone for
it's more homage.
homaging.
It's more homage than anything.
Yeah.
This is your Indiana Jones fantasy, but we couldn't get the license.
Yeah. I love those games,
But, yeah.
and I
And
this movie is fucking genius.
loses.
I could go on and on. Maybe someday we need to just do like a commentary and then just like gush in real time.
And like
as it's ongoing,
the only reason that they're tied to the post anyway is Belloc's vanity, right? He wants Indy to see his victory. So that also fits. It all fits. It all falls into place. God damn,
it's perfect.
This movie.
And it's all like a good chunk of it is just subtext and not brought it. And it has the just the fact that it has so much patience and it's so reserved in its cleverness that it's stuff that it's there, but it's not going out of its way to call attention to how smart it is. Makes it even more fun to watch and fun to watch on revisiting watches as well. You know, like I always find little details, little character nods every time I watch it. It's a perfect fucking movie.
Hey, Jeff.
It really is. Yeah.
Soundtrack.
How did we not talk about the fucking soundtrack?
I just peaked my levels.
Probably my favorite theme ever, and we just completely glossed over it. Fuck, dude.
Hey, we didn't
This
get out of here
podcast
without
is fucking
mentioning
over, bro. This podcast is fucking over, bro.
Hey, okay, three things, and I'm done. I'm pretty sure the first time you hear the full Indy theme is when he swings on the vine at the beginning to get to the airplane, right? We go that entire opening thing without hearing it. In your head, when you think of the boulder, you hear the song in your head, but that's not where you hear it.
Yeah, they do like little.
They do parts of it,
portions of it, right?
but you don't hear the
kind of just like a slow burn.
You don't hear the drop, as the kids say, until he is swinging into the river to get to the plane. And then their controlled use of it, like we talk about Avengers all the time, they know when to use it and when to stop.
Yeah,
it's used.
I'm
perfectly.
so ashamed. This is probably my favorite theme ever, and the fact that I mean, we would have touched on it eventually because we're fucking covering all four of these movies. I mean,
and that might be why it didn't come to mind.
Yeah, and we're delving into shit that people might not have thought of as much as, you know, like one of the most beloved and famous theme songs in the history of film, you know. But yeah,
hey,
it's incredible.
Did he even say it belongs in a museum? He doesn't say that till Last Crusade, right? But that is so famous.
Yeah, I think that's. I always thought it was in Raiders, but I think it's
because it's to the cross of Cortez, right?
I think, yeah.
The mobster, for whatever reason, that has the cross of Cortez. It belongs in a museum.
Yeah. Always, or is it is it
what?
That's Last Crusade, or is it Temple at Doom?
No, that's Last Crusade because it's
Last Crusade.
because it opens with young Indiana Jones after saving the cross of Cortez, and then it does a transition to him as adult, still chasing the cross of Cortez.
Okay, yeah, you're right.
The last thing I was gonna say earlier, I mentioned there are two things I never noticed before. One was the Jurassic Park font. I never said what the second one was. Belloc and the Nazis are walking and talking business. And who but Sala is the one that walks between Belloc and the Nazis covering his face.
Yeah.
I never noticed that was Jonathan Rhys-Davies on his way to find some way to pull Indy out of the fucking map room.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. Fucking love Solid.
Because he walks past, and when he sees that's Bella, he's just like, oh shit, and pulls the thing up over his face. And then I saw it, I was like, whoa, hold on. And I backed it up. And I was like, that's fucking Solo. I never noticed it before.
Nice.
The magic of Blu-ray versus VHS.
Yeah, it just like just think about how many times in your life you have watched certain famous movies in 4:3.
I was gonna say,
just how much
this is the first time I've ever seen it in widescreen. I've never seen this movie in widescreen before last night. There
is literally entire sections and like important, tidbits of movies that people just literally could not see for years and years and years just because of the fucking 4:3 resolution, or ratio. And like, fuck, dude, that's just insane to think about, like how much you miss out.
Yep. Kevin Smith has talked about how directors and editors would depend on that. Everybody had 4:3 at home, so there's a mistake. It's like, well, who's going to notice it? And then widescreen became a thing, and all those old movies start coming out in widescreen, and now there's boom mics hanging and shit happening in the background with extras that shouldn't be happening that you saw in theaters, but you never saw it at home because it was 4:3.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyways,
did you have any other tidbits that you want to touch on before we?
I want to talk Last Crusade, so no.
Okay. I'm excited to talk about each of these 4 movies for very different reasons for some of them.
Yeah.
But it'll be.
I am a defender of Temple of Doom.
I don't know how I'm gonna feel about it.
It's my third favorite.
I mean, it's my third favorite too, just because it doesn't have Shia LaGoddamn Buff swinging with fucking monkeys from tree to tree. But what's her name? Is it Willie?
Billy or Willie?
Whatever her fucking we're not thinking we're crashing lady. I hate her probably more than Shia LaBeouf. So maybe it is more of a fucking conversation between which I like better between Temple of Doom and Last Crusade, but we shall see. I have been intentionally, I really wanted to just watch all 4 of the fucking movies in a row, last weekend. But I'm intentionally watching them one by one, and then doing the podcasts, and then waiting for the sequels until we get to that episode of recording. Because I don't want to not take them one at a time.
Willie.
I don't. Yeah. Fuck her, dude. I fucking hate her character so goddamn much. I hear her. I hear her fucking shrill screams my goddamn night terrors, dude.
Dude, it's so bad.
So bad. It's so bad. But there's a lot of great shit. As much as I hate her, there's a lot of really cool shit in Temple of Doom. And also, how fucking bonkers is it that in Raiders of the Lost Ark, where 20 Nazis have their faces melted off, this was a fucking PG because the Temple of Doom bullshit hadn't happened yet.
Right.
This is a fucking PG movie, dude.
Also, don't forget that Temple of Doom opens with what could have been a 007 movie. And again, I'm pretty sure, I think it's Uncharted 3 pays homage to that because it opens with Nathan Drake and Sullivan in tuxedos going to see a guy.
Well, I mean, if you take a drink every time Uncharted homages Indiana Jones, you'll be fucking dead by the end of Uncharted 1.
I want to play Uncharted again.
That is neither here nor there. But yeah, I think it's gonna be a wrap. You said you're good.
I'm
thank
good.
Thank you for catching the theme song omission, because I would have fucking just hated myself.
I was just sitting here like, oh
till the end of days.
God, we didn't talk about it.
We almost made a boo-boo, but I'm also just still stunned that Belloc is Ivan Ooze. I don't know how to. I don't know how to process that information.
That shows you his range.
Yeah, for fucking sure, dude. To be as suave as Belloc, just be as fucking crazy
as a
Ivan
child.
Ooze, dude.
That was fucking terrifying. Ivan Ooze was a scary motherfucker, dude.
Ivan Ooze.
Dude, Ivan Ooze broke into the command center and destroyed it. He destroyed Zordon's tube, and he killed the Zords. while they were in their hiding places. How terrifying is that when you've been watching the Power Rangers just constantly win?
Yeah, he's kind of a bad motherfucker.
There's a Super Nintendo game, by the way, that is a fighting style. I'm blanking on the name of it. It came out between the first game and the movie-based game, and it's got a story mode. The story mode is bullshit. It's just fighting, is all it is. But if there's something you do. Clear all the fights without losing or something. Or I don't remember. There's a specific thing you do. The last boss is Lord Zed. Or is it? Because after you beat Lord Zed, without refilling your health bars or anything, fucking Ivan Ooze comes floating down from the top of the screen if you've done something a specific way. And his moves are all horse shit. And he's one of the toughest bosses I've ever fought in any video game, dude. He's a spammer, and he sends all of your damage back at you plus his own.
Dirty R1
He's a
spammer.
dirty spammer.
You can follow us on Twitter at SPR Filmcast. Please share it out to your friends. If you find our podcast and enjoy it, that always helps us grow.
Don't forget to rate and leave a review wherever you are listening to us.
Absolutely, that helps too. And if you have any questions that you would like read on the show, or just any comments about films that we've covered or ones that you would like to see us cover, you can always email us at screenplayrewind@gmail.com.
Did Bobby email us? You specifically asked him to email us at the end of the last episode, I think.
If he did, I didn't see it, but Bobby, you should definitely email in a question prompt, because me and Ron can bullshit whatever topic you can possibly think of and talk for hours on end.
These are all Bobby movies. Come on.
Yeah, for sure. Ron, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You can find me on Twitch, YouTube, and Twitter at RonSenseTV.
Nice. Yeah, you can find me on my personal account at gmillerspr on Twitter. And yeah, we're continuing our coverage of Indiana Jones next week with Temple of Doom. These are going to be changing a little bit from our usual schedule, because we're going to be dropping these weekly for the next 4 weeks instead of the bi-weekly schedule we typically have. So yeah, check us out next week for Temple of Doom to find out if I fucking hate my life watching it or if it's a bit of a redemption. We shall definitely find out.
It's a good movie. It's the Dark Souls 2 of Indiana Jones.
We're not sinking, we're podcasting. I fucking hate her so much. Yeah. We'll see.
That's my edit, too. I might have to worm that in a couple of times. That soundbite.
Oh. Vomit, yeah. I gotta go throw up. I'm just thinking about those goddamn lines of hers. Ugh.
No, I'm gonna throw up when he reaches his arm in the fucking hole and it comes out just covered in centipedes and bugs and blah.
See, the centipedes don't bother. The snakes in this bother me a lot more than the centipedes, but centipedes are not okay either. Yeah. We'll get into Temple of Doom. Bye, guys.